Welcome to the Blue Flag podcast with your hosts, Justin and Jelmer. We will be sharing our limited knowledge and plentiful opinions on Formula One news of yesterday or last week. It seems we have been left once again.
And that's right, Jelmer. Welcome for having me yet again in this amazing podcast. What are we going to talk about today?
We're gonna talk about the multitude of car launches that has taken place. And we're gonna talk about some of the Red Bull promotional videos that have been released, and talking about what's happening in those videos, specifically Albon's third wheeling. It's always pretty funny.
Yeah, that's right.
But let's first get into the car launches.
All right. Yeah, I did actually enjoy the car launch of Alfa Romeo the most. AlphaTauri was just someone sharing. They just shared a video of a clothing exposition and one tall Gasly versus one small Japanese guy. Uh, I did like the livery. I did like the switch up. The same for the Alfa Romeo. I did like it. But Alfa Romeo had a nice introduction, some Polish culture as well. And then Red Bull just came in like, oh, we have livery here, picture. So it was yet another interesting week of car launches. But I'm actually quite excited for the car of AlphaTauri and Red Bull, because you could already see some minor details compared to last year's car. And yeah, what did you think of the car launches, Jelmer?
Yeah, well, what I think is pretty interesting, right, is that what we know so far about the AlphaTauri car is that they actually didn't they decided not to take that many parts of the Red Bull of last year, which is actually pretty understandable, right? We know the Red Bull of last year had some troubles, which they managed to fix in the end, mostly as far as we can tell. At the end of the year,
they had some problems in the beginning with the front, the slow speed corner, so the front of the car, which was really unstable. So they had to reduce some downforce on the back of the car to compensate.
If I'm correct, they had a lot of understeer, right?
Yeah, they had understeer because of the aerodynamic changes they had to make on the front and back wings. So the overall balance was really difficult. There was a really thin optimal line for the setup to get to. So sometimes they had to do some low balance, but then their car was low downforce, and so they couldn't balance the downforce as well. So they had troubles with under and over understeer. But yeah, obviously, I think AlphaTauri at this moment is a pretty decent team. They're still not in front of the midfield. They are in the midfield, as I would like to call it. They're ahead of both the the Alfa Romeo and the Haas.
Yeah,
and
also both the Ferraris. Yes.
No, I don't think they'll be above the Ferraris this year. I think Ferrari will make a comeback to P4, P3 in the championship. But I think, like I said last week, McLaren is going to take up P3 again in the championship.
Yeah, well, personally, I think they might do well, right? Because like if they are keep developing on the parts from the 2019 Red Bull, which was basically the 2020 AlphaTauri, right? The 2019 Red Bull wasn't a bad car. So, they might get far if the Honda action is actually up to the bat, if it can actually perform. But yeah, I think the AlphaTauri is a midfield team, and I think they will pretty much be doomed to stay a midfield team with the amount of budget they have for this year. Certainly, with how much they'll probably have to invest already to even be a little bit competitive in the budget cap era.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, because of the budget cap, it's now more down to the quality of the employees and all the workers at every team, and not more about how much money you have to spend on research, development, and 20,000 people working on some kind of car. Obviously, it's not 20,000, but money buys you better parts, I think.
Yeah,
But I think the quality of the people is going to be so much more important coming from this year. You will see teams who do not have a good organization will fall down pretty quickly in the field. So I think, for example, a Haas, and I even think a Ferrari and the Williams, they won't develop as quickly as teams who will have a better teams. For instance, like Mercedes, Aston Martin, Red Bull, and McLaren. I think those are the four best teams with the best employees, the best management. So they will have, I think, a better development speed and better quality cars than the others. So, but we'll see. Obviously, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not.
yeah. What I meant more was the fact, like, that the teams that have a huge amount of money right now. I think they'll just be able to like spend it on things that they can use within the budget cap, and to not make it count. So that's more. I think smaller teams will have to struggle to catch up in that regard. But yeah, I think it'll generally be as you say. But let's move on to the Red Bull reveal. In what I think generally isn't that much of a reveal.
No, it's not. It's the same car. Although I have to say, I really do like the old stylish Honda at the back of the rear wing, and the logo on front of the nose. Obviously it's not the exact same position as the Aston Martin logo used to be, but I don't know. I like it. Yeah, and I think it's pretty smart of Red Bull to just keep the livery the same. Because then spotting details is going to be a lot more difficult than you have when you create an entirely new car with new colors and new stripes. So I think in a way it's good that they keep their livery the same.
Yeah, no, I like the livery, right? So I'm not that upset about it, or I find it aesthetically pleasing. So I'm not gonna say mince any words about that, right? But what I do find kind of funny is that it was sort of announced that it was gonna be a car launch on Tuesday. And then we just got like a 2-minute clip, like basically promotional footage. We didn't really see the car clearly, but yeah, there's of the footage that we did get. There's some minor changes that were spottable. I think the front wing was slightly different. And you could spot like a few changes with regards to the floor, right? Because they had to, due to rule changes, they have to change the floor. So that was like noticeable, but yeah, I think the rest is pretty similar to last year's car. Of course, they had to carry over a gigantic amount of the last year's car due to the rule. But what do you think, by the way, is that because Honda is pulling its 2022 engine forward, so it's going to be an entirely new engine. What do you think about that? Like, I didn't introduce that in the topics, but
yeah, I think I heard it. I heard it. We obviously heard Honda's going to put it forward. Just after they said we're going to bail out, and they were like, okay, we're going to take more risk, because if we're going to freeze, we need to have the best engine possible for this year, and we need to develop it until the end of the year, because that's what you get from then onwards. And what I've heard, they've radically changed the entire engine. They've improved the combustion, they improved the turbo, they improved the ERS deployment. So they have more. Well, they can get more electricity out of the engine. They can use more ERS, so more power. For example, the overtake button is more powerful at the moment, and I think they made it more. They made the fuel more efficient. So all in all, I think that's better. You got more power. You got more electricity was also a big problem with the Honda engine compared to the Mercedes engine. So I think in a way they're going in, and yeah, you can't say that much about the engine yet, obviously. But I think it's good, it's bold, but I think it's the only option they had to give a throw towards the championship. So we'll see. Obviously, in Bahrain, we'll see everything, because then there are no cameras to hide anything.
Yeah, personally, I think they definitely needed to do this, especially as Red Bull's taking over the engines, right? They're getting the engines, so they kind of need a newer model to keep not I would say developing on, but to perfect to make it perfect, right, in the coming years when there's an engine freeze. Because I think you can still improve the reliability, and you need more power to even like compete with Mercedes, especially in the when the new rules come in. But yeah, for this year, of course, there's that reliability question, especially as they told us that there's certainly an aspect of sacrificing reliability this year when it could as opposed to performance, right? Because they need that performance to even have a shot at bridging the gap to Mercedes. So I think it's a little bit of giving in when you're taking that performance, and I hope that they haven't given up that much when it comes to reliability. But only time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I think that's most of the car launches, right? I don't really have that much to say about the Alfa Romeo. It's an Alfa Romeo. I think the car will perform well if the Ferrari supply unit will perform, and we will again, only time will tell. I think if they made some gains, we'll see it. Okay, so let's move on to the Red Bull promotional footage that was released after the car launch. Perez's first drive. Did you saw the video? I think
I saw the video of exactly 1.5 minutes. Yes. Yeah. Obviously, what you could see is that he was very happy to drive for such a team. I think he's still shocked actually that he's driving for Red Bull Racing next year, the team that got P2 with such a distance towards P3. A championship winning team, obviously. He's never been in a position like this before. Obviously, he had good performance, and he didn't expect to get dumped from Force India. But he's there and he's driving a car, and he's noticing the team is really, really good. Obviously, the 2019 car is not as good as the 2021 car, the 2020 car. But still, I think as a driver, when you're going to drive for another car and you begin to know the systems, and then you can feel like what the difference is between obviously a Racing Point car and a Red Bull car. He was definitely happy. I think he knows how strong the chassis is, and the potential, of the team.
Yeah. I thought the video was pretty cool, right? I think you can definitely tell that he's looking forward to driving in a team that's actually capable of winning races more often. And I think he has the right mindset. He isn't showing a mindset where he thinks everything's owed to him. Which is very smart, because he might be out in a year. Who knows? You never know with Red Bull. And I think he's just taking that every single bit of lap time that he can get to get better situated in the car. So that's smart. Yeah, that's basically only the only thing that I have to say about that 1 minute 30 video. But let's move on to what we really wanted to talk about when it comes to Red
Yes.
Bull promotional videos, and that's the one
Third
with
wheel
Max as
Albon.
well. But most importantly, Albon.
Yep.
Well, to be fair, like he really looks like a third wheel right there.
Yeah, I really liked Albon, so I was a bit disappointed to see him drop. But yeah, he wasn't as quick enough, and Red Bull didn't gain anything from Albon. So in a way, looking at it from a non-objective standpoint, I think fair. Perez was the best chance they had to get a better driver at this moment. Obviously, he had no team, so and he probably wanted to drive for Red Bull, so they had a card to play on the contract. And yeah, I think it's okay that they didn't ditch Albon directly by saying, okay, you're no part of the Red Bull racing program, we're dumping you entirely. So he is a test driver, which is obviously not as good as being a second or a first driver, but at least they didn't kick him as hard as other drivers. So he still get a chance at DTM to show himself. He's doing some free practices, I believe, and some development work on the simulator, which is also quite important. So yeah, and I think also if Perez is really performing badly, I think there is a chance that they are going to put back in Gasly or Albon. Actually, if I think they keep Albon just to be sure, because if Perez is performing really, really bad, that they could say, okay, so long, Mexican guy, and then they call Albon up and say, you drive the rest of the season to show yourself, last chance, and otherwise you're out as well.
I think they're mostly keeping Albon to like have a backseat driver, right? To put him in if need be. I think Red Bull is like sort of keeping a piggy bank right now with respects to their drivers, because they like Albon is clearly a decent driver, right? And Gasly has shown in that AlphaTauri that he can be really fast. So it's kind of like they're sitting on a piggy bank right now when it comes to drivers, because they have the pick of the litter, I think, to put someone next to Max. But it has shown that it's a hard seat to be in, whether it's because you're next to Max Verstappen, or maybe the car is a bit more optimized for Max, but I don't really believe that's the case.
I don't think either. It's just a really, really difficult car to drive. But yeah, we'll see. I have a high expectation of Perez. I think he's going to do better than Albon and Gasly did. But yeah, we'll see in Bahrain if he's quick enough or not. So until then, we can only speculate. Obviously.
Yeah, I think only. I think the experience will be the key here, and I think that's something that Gasly and Albon lacked, and I think that's something that Perez has in spades. So I think he'll do well. But yeah, again, we'll see in Bahrain. We'll see how he does in testing and how the Red Bull car in general does in testing. And I think that's where our topics end, yes, and so
I think as well. Now we can finally get lapped again.
No, yeah. Well, to be fair, I think we've already been lapped, so I think we'll get lapped again next week. I think we have to hope that someone crashes out and that we can take their place. But
exactly, say we were about to unlap ourselves.
That's the only way we unlap ourselves these days. Thank you for listening. If there's anyone who has any comments on the podcast with regards to quality or quantity, so if you want a longer podcast, let us know. We'll we'll try our best, and see you guys next week.
Ciao.